Hi and hello everyone. This is your girl Namgaya Halimba Ngobi and this is TIG Agenda on UBC Radio. Today I am excited to be bringing you a leader who is not just a leader but whose work is an intercept of policy, economic development and transformation. Ladies and gentlemen, with me today is a one-on-one exclusive with Dr. Hilary Musoke, who serves as the Senior Presidential Advisor on Value Addition and Agri-business. We cannot be more honored to have you today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Dr. Hilary, when we talk about value addition, what is someone supposed to understand about that?
Value addition basically is a big term, but very simple. Because in day-to-day life, value addition may mean moving from one state to another, processing a product from one state to another. But usually it is from a lower state, low in terms of value, to a higher state. So when you are adding value to a product, you basically mean transforming from one state to another. But of course, using specific skills, using specific tools, using specific processes. Because in value addition, you have different processes you undergo. And value addition is categorized into both agro, which comprises animal husbandry, fisheries, crop, where you add value on those items that are into the agriculture sector. But also you have non-agro. In non-agro, you're looking at our resources that are minerals. You add value on copper, you add value on gold, you add value on lithium, on cobalt, on cement, limestone, on clay, where you people are importing cups, and yet you have your clay here. You add value on your sand. Okay. Sand is used to make glasses, but you are importing resources, both in the agriculture sector and in the non-agro sector. So these are deliberate initiatives. Value addition. When you hear the president talking about value addition, he's trying to tell Ugandans, stop being a market for European, for Chinese, for Americans, for Indians products. And yet you are the source of raw materials. Because Uganda basically is an agricultural country. And you find that most of the agricultural products we have here are not grown in other countries. But then you find that those countries are making products out of them. What does it mean? They come to Africa deliberately to pick the raw materials, take in their factories, and then process and bring back and sell to us. Give an example of our hides and skins. Every one of you would like pure leather shoe made in Italy, made in England, pure leather chairs in the dining rooms, pure leather belts, pure leather bags for ladies, very expensive. But those countries that are making those products don't even have the raw materials. They're all shipped from Uganda, from Kenya, from Ethiopia, from Africa, and taken to the factories.
Yeah, on the point of agriculture and us being the source of raw materials, majority of the youth, if not majority of the Ugandans, have a mindset that thinks agriculture is either last resort, or if someone tells you to do agriculture, it's like you're either poor or it is a punishment. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, unfortunately, it is because of the Gen Z generation. That's why they can say agriculture is the last resort, is poor. But also, the conditioning, the way we were conditioned by the colonialists, it was deliberate to make sure that, you become a market for their products. Why? The moment young generations hate agriculture, the moment they hate everything associated on agriculture, that means that they will only look for jobs for white-collar people. Okay. Because agriculture is the country's largest employer, if managed well. It can create so many jobs than any other sector. Now, the setting of our education by the colonialists also contributed a lot to that mindset. But before, by history, you know very well that Uganda was known for being an agricultural country. And by that time, all big families that could afford to take their children to good schools, they were agricultural families. People would own acreage of coffee, acreage of sugar cane, acreage of tea, acreage of cotton. It was basically those people who used to farm at large scale, who used to have herds of cattle, herds of goats, that could afford to take their children in good schools. But now you find that people, instead of selling that land to go into other ventures. So it is now the time that we are going to make sure that we sensitize the young generation that are believing in only sitting on laptop, believing in trading, to see that they go back to the gardens. I want to make sure in my office, the president told me to tell the Ugandans that you can make agriculture sweet, sexy, and romantic.
Exactly.
So that the young people can really know that agriculture can earn you wealth. Agriculture can create jobs. Agriculture can give a country, can improve a country's GDP.
Can give you wine.
You can make wine that you are importing from South Africa and Italy. You can get it from your own locally grown products in Uganda.
You mentioned making agriculture sexy and romantic. Then
Yes.
I remembered there's someone who said Uganda takes agriculture as their backbone.
Mhm.
But you see, someone can live without a backbone. So Uganda should take agriculture as their oxygen, something we cannot live without. And that brings me to sustainability in agriculture. One of the challenges that is facing most farmers, especially the small scale farmers, is that every time they grow this agriculture, at the end of the harvest, they are having challenges of either the climate change or even transportation that is going to require them to take them to the market, and in the process there are a lot of losses. What does the government have to do to say something about that?
Actually, if I may tell Ugandans, yes, there are challenges, but I always don't want to believe in challenges before practicing.
Okay.
Many young people say, when we grow our things, they won't have market. You know, the weather will change. There is the dry season. There is the flooding. But have you tried? Uganda's agricultural sector is only faced with a few challenges. Yes, you said the climate, and also the technology. We need to move from peasantry or rudimentary farming to go to modern. For example, the president is very deliberate in advocating for irrigation. Munange people used to say that you have to wait for God to bring rain for you to go and cultivate. They sit down. When January comes, everyone sits down. They wait for March, God to bring the rain. No, it's not. It should not be like that. You must embrace irrigation. During rainy seasons, can you harvest that water in any means? Then during dry season, you go to the gardens. Because the moment you all wait for rain, that means in the harvest, you are going to have flooding of the market. But those people who have been very tactical and make sure that they go to the gardens during dry season using irrigation, they always sell at higher prices. So that means that we just have to sensitize our people, our Ugandans, that agriculture can be practiced throughout the year from January to December when you embrace irrigation systems, both small irrigation systems from the bottle irrigation to mechanized irrigation system. Then also, we have to tell our dear farmers that you can also employ mechanization. That hole that we are trying to, rudimentarily we are using hose to tilt the land. But now there are modern ways of tilting the land. You make sure that you embrace, like for example, the Ministry of Agriculture is introducing hand hoes that are mechanized. It's just a small hole, but mechanized. It can easily break through the soils. Because if you have to go to commercial agriculture, you cannot use a hole for 5 acres, for 10 acres. But also, you cannot use a tractor on just 2 acres. Remember, Ugandans have a problem with the land fragmentation. You hear the president telling you people, stop fragmenting land. Why? When your father dies and he has 20 children, because Ugandans women are all fertile, they produce so many children, all those children want to share that land. So the Musika we will divide that land among the 20 children. And these were 10 acres. That means each one is going to take half an acre.
On that point,
On that,
on that point,
yes,
you've spoken about land fragmentation, you've spoken about irrigation, and all that I think lies within civic education. Does the government, in a way, have programs that are designed to particularly do civic education and let people understand about irrigation and everything?
Yes, I always refer to my President Yoweri Museveni. He has been the ambassador of civic educating Ugandans on commercial agriculture. That's why he tells you we must move this country from peasantry farming to commercial farming. We must stop working for the stomach and work for both the stomach and the market, which he calls chidachonka by the people from the East. We must stop working for chidachonka. We must make sure that we get food, but also we must have a surplus to take to the market. Because if you have food and you don't have money to buy paraffin, to buy soap, to take your children to hospital, to educate your children, that means that the food is not enough. You must practice farming that can give you both food and at the same time you get money. Because a human being has a lot of needs, and all needs don't come from the garden.
That is true.
So the president has been very deliberate. Even us, I'm always on TV, on radio, in seminars, trying to educate the young people. That's why the president pays me to see that I go and sensitize these young people. That's why I'm here. The only unfortunate thing is that the young people out there have a problem. When social media came, they misuse social media. They are never researching on what can be got better on using their phones. They're either politicking, they're either gossiping, they're either blackmailing others, they're either just making funny things. So they would use the power of social media and the internet to embrace different techniques of farming, different techniques of value addition, different techniques of markets, how to access markets, and see that they make this sector called agriculture an enterprise that can transform their lives.
Wow, that is beautiful. You spoke about internet, and I remember Uganda hosted the first ever game conference, the AI conference, and there was an element of AI in agriculture. It was there, and it was an amazing one. Let's cross a little to skilling. When we talk about skilling, there are very many government initiatives and programs that have come up to like educate people about skills. However, according to different people in the country, they think that after they have attained the skills, they do not have where to practice the skills from, or even then they do not have the resources to actually put the skills to work. What does the government have to say about that?
Yes, the beauty of skilling is that the moment you have a skill, then you have it forever. So the beauty of skilling is in two folds. When you are skilled, you can either self-employ yourself or you can be employable. Because there are those factories, for example, in the textile. The moment my students start to come out under the presidential initiative on skilling, the girl and boy child, if I produce them, those children will either go to NITIL and be employed, or if they access the machines, like the sewing machines, they can go and have a place and start employing themselves. The good thing, for example, under the presidential initiative, which I'm managing, the president, when we were starting, he used to give them even machines after the 6 months. And now what he has done, he's giving them capital in terms of circles. Those children, after they get that money from the circle, they buy the relevant tools, the equipment, and go and start by themselves, those who are confident. But even those who are not confident, you'll find them in Serena, you'll find them in factories, working for bigger companies. That means that these people had been value added. They didn't know how to make shoes, but now they know. So any company that is specializing in leather products will be able to employ them and pay them a salary. But the most important thing, what we are advocating for, are these young people, after attaining a skill, to go and make products and then take to the market. That's the only way they will create more wealth than earning a salary.
Okay, I love the part where you say opportunity meets an already ready
Yes.
person. When the
Yes.
opportunity comes, you already have the skills. You
Exactly.
mentioned something about factories, and I was inclined to ask many of the people that work in factories, especially the young people, they we often complain about the pay. And there have been very many debates about the minimum wage pay. Do you think it is something, if taken up, because it has not been taken up, would create a difference if and at least give value to the young laborers?
You know, I always tell Ugandans they are very, very good at complaining, especially the young people.
Okay.
They always find an excuse. But give an example of a young youth who is seated at home, not employed, and a young youth who is in the factory,
Okay.
earning a salary, 300, 500, and this one earns zero. Who of those ones is better? It is better for that person to be having a job and earning some money. Yes, that increasing their salary and earning more is another thing. But are you employed?
We begin with that.
We begin with that. Because at the end of the day, Uganda is a developing country where investors must look at the cost of production. And the cost of production, most of it goes in labor. We are putting different avenues to excite investors to come to the country.
Okay.
When you start talking about the minimum wage, those investors look for other African countries that are looking for them to go and invest from there. Because an investor or anyone who begins a factory looks at profit maximization. And in profit maximization, you must cut your operational costs. So the more you increase and start saying minimum wage is this, those investors will run away or they will collapse, because salaries are one of the major cost centers that take a lot of money in an industry. Therefore, yes, we will get there, but Uganda is in the process. I always tell Ugandans that Ugandans compare it to a pregnant woman who conceives, 9 months, delivers a baby. After a baby is delivered, he will do what? He will sit, begin to sit. Then after he will crawl, that baby will crawl. Then after begins to stand a bit. Then after walking, that baby will run. So now Uganda is at a stage, it has undergone different stages since 1986. That means that this baby Uganda has been crawling, has been staggering to stand. Now Uganda is walking. But some people want Uganda to run. And when you make a child run at the stage he's supposed to walk, what happens? He crashes and falls. So Uganda can crash. We can't crash the economy by investors going away by bringing minimum wage, because we are trying, telling them, please, please, we are kneeling down for them to come. Actually, investors are rich people. We are just kneeling them down for them and competing with other countries, because every country now in Africa is luring investors to come and create industries. So we must put their incentives that can entice them to come.
Yeah.
And why they are coming, and you are seeing so many factories opening up, we don't have minimum wage. We have 100% profit repatriation. You take your profits. Other countries don't allow that. So, being that Uganda undergone a lot of political crisis for so many years, other countries like Kenya were developing, Tanzania was developing, South Africa was developing. For us, we were in wars. Now, we have to put in place terms that can favor these investors. That's why the president is very deliberate in protecting the investors. So Ugandans want to compare Uganda to the rest of the regional countries, but we were behind them 50 years back. Actually, we are lucky that we can now afford to be near on the same lane with them. So based on Uganda's history, we have to put deliberate interventions to excite and bring in investors, and such interventions are those that you don't immediately put minimum wage. After 10 years and the GDP has risen, then that means that we can create minimum wage.
Well, that is interesting. You spoke about protecting the investors, and I remember just the other day we were with, I think, General Edith for the Investors Protection Unit, and they were telling us to to be an investor, you don't have to be foreign.
Yes.
As Ugandans, they have to appreciate that they can also be investors in their own country.
Exactly.
Something Ugandans do not know. Let's talk about the political climate that
Mm.
is right now happening. Majority of people think when we have the political season, end of business, no agriculture, no nothing, and that for ages, or as history says it, has affected how we do business. That after elections,
Mm.
there is a detour
Mm.
in the economic element. What do you have to say about that?
Yes, yes. As I told you, Uganda is a developing country.
Yeah.
Even its democracy is developing. Exposure in politics is developing. Yes, people sometimes are not sure after the politics. You remember the hate campaign that was going on, especially from the opposition, intimidating people. When you don't vote President Museveni, we are going to ban you, we are going to kill you, we are going to take your wealth, your property. So everyone was timid. That means that some Ugandans were not sure, are we safe? That's why you saw others even going to the villages to first study and monitor what is in Kampala. Because all chaos begins in Kampala. But for us, we are made in here in Miala from Bwaise and Kawempe. We have nowhere to go. We cannot run anywhere. That's why we tell young people, defend the peace, defend the gains by the president, defend the revolution. Why? Most of the politicians that are standing, especially in so-called opposition, are just self-centered because they are looking for benefits from Bazungu. They are looking for money from whites, from different countries, and they are being used by different countries to disorganize our country. So that fear that was created during the campaigns, somehow people had to go undercover and see, are we going to be safe? And that already has a bearing. Politics has a bearing on the economics of the country. When you have bad politics, the economy will crash. When you have bad politics, people will die. Rich people will die. When you don't manage the politics of a country very well, the rich people are going to go to exile, they are going to die, or they will go into prison.
Okay.
But here people are rich. Have you seen any rich people being imprisoned? But other countries, when you get a lot of money, they imprison you. That means there is bad politics. The people who go to prison in this government are either chaos promoters who have done wrong, political criminals who have done wrong. But rich people are doing their work. Concentrate in your factory, concentrate on your shop, concentrate on your business.
Okay, I have had the privilege to witness 3 elections now, including the recently concluded election. And from, I would say, in the past 3 elections, the crisis of the political demographics, because just from the recently concluded elections, the roadmap was released around August, September. So all that time up to the voting is political climate. How does the agri-business and scaling and the programs that are helping Ugandans become better versions of themselves interact with such a climate, given that it's around for 3 months?
By the way, I congratulate Ugandans. If everyone who was following President Museveni, you must agree with me that the president was not looking for votes. He was teaching Ugandans on how to earn money through agriculture, through artisan enterprises. Wherever we went, I moved with the president in the entire country, who was teaching and showing Ugandans the best ventures to undertake for you to create wealth. As others were saying, Uganda, the president said, Kira is a dictator, the country is bleeding, we are dying. The president was teaching Ugandans to go and make money. And you can be shocked, even on the voting date, some Ugandans were working. The day after voting, after elections, shops were open because what Ugandans need is only the peace for them to create wealth. Because out of 46 of 50 million people, Ugandans, we have about 500 politicians, not even 10,000 politicians. That means the rest of the country must move as the other salary seekers in politics confuse the country. So Ugandans are not stupid. They know that as long as President Museveni guarantees their peace and security, they have no time to waste but to continue. So the economy didn't crash for one reason. Most of the Ugandans in the money economy were busy working. The chips sellers, the people in poultry, the people in taxis, the people in service industry, in hotels were all making money. But if the politics had been mismanaged and these people who wanted to create chaos, demonstrations, burn petrol stations, those people, that group, if such chaos had come, you'd wake up when you can't come and access UBC. You'd wake up when you can't cross the city. You'd be hearing gunshots. You'd be hearing chaos everywhere. That means if that chaos went for a week and for a month, it means that there will be no economy moving on. Therefore, that's why we tell our young people, we must preserve the peace. For you to go and enjoy in a bar and drink and dance, you must have peace.
Wow.
For you to go and work, you must have peace, because even drunkards fear bullets.
Okay.
When the bullets are outside, the bars will be closed. So we need to first prioritize peace for this country, and then we do others. The economics follow. Remember, during COVID, we had to forego economics and had to save life.
Exactly.
When the economy was shut, we lost a lot because we had to first see, are Ugandans safe? So it also happens in politics. Countries that have mismanaged their politics and their security have crushed their economies. Look at the way what happened in Kenya, our neighbors. The demonstrations, they burnt everything. Tanzania, over 3,000 people died in Tanzania because of the demonstrations. Property was burnt. Congo, people are dying because politics has been mismanaged. Libya, people are still dying for over 10 years. Sudan, Southern Sudan, people are dying, mismanagement of politics. Ukraine, people are dying and the country is going to the dogs because of mismanagement of politics. Palestine, the whole city has been put down, mismanagement of the politics. So Ugandans must know that why President Museveni does not take things for granted. He doesn't want Uganda to go back from where it came from. That's why he doesn't joke with time wasters who try to bring chaos to Ugandans. A normal Ugandan only wants peace and security, then he will see how to survive.
Wow, interesting. On that point, let's talk about the different programs that the government has put in place. PDM, the most popular one. I recently had a colleague who was not aware about PDM. As a matter of fact, they thought PDM belongs to a particular group of people. Now that brings me to the minds of the very many Ugandans. I am speaking for some of them, that they think some programs are government or NRM leaning. As the presidential advisor, what do you have to say about that?
Yes, as I told you, people always want to lament and fix blame. And me, basically, I don't fix blame, and I hate lamenting. I always look for a solution. Ugandans must wake up. Ugandans must become vigorant. Ugandans must learn to focus. Ugandans must look for better options. These programs, when they come, no one will say that these are programs for President Museveni, for PDM is for Museveni, for NRM. When the program comes, it is by the president who is sitting, who is serving all Ugandans. When we were traversing the country while monitoring PDM beneficiaries, there was no signage that shows that this one is an NRM supporter. But we were looking for success stories. That yes, did you receive the 1 million? Yes. What did you do? I bought goats, I bought cows, I bought pigs, I bought my sewing machine. You know, it is not that like in the Myoga. You know, there are so many programs, PDM, Myoga. So different programs are benefited by different categories. So the president was looking for the impact of the PDM, but not what do you support. And you find that these people are very happy and excited, even if they were opposition, even if they didn't have this president, but by virtue that the families are changing, For example, I know you were Muslim, but we found a man who had bought only 5 piglets. But after a year, he almost had 200 pigs. That one has already crossed the poverty line. Because remember, PDM is for poor people who can have never even seen 500,000, not even 1 million. They are not anywhere in the money economy. They are not doing anything. And the president is telling them that please get this man as capital, do something, start going into the money economy.
Do we have a criteria to sieve out particular people that receive the PDM?
Of course, I may not talk for the PDM secretariat, but any program for to work, we have a criteria. There must be members in the community. They must come together. If you are pineapple growers, if you are poultry keepers, you must be a group on a certain parish, because the parish development model. So you must belong somewhere in the parish. You must be among the committee that you've formed, so that your members know you. So the criteria is there, and PDM has really. That's why you see the president is winning overwhelmingly. He was even supposed to get 80%. Me, during campaigns, I told people, this time the president is going to get between 70 and 80%. Because I was moving the entire country with the president during PDM. And I saw the excitement of people. As these opposition people are here in Kampala, abusing the president, lying to Ugandans, misleading the public, the president is in the villages teaching people to create wealth.
Okay.
So it was obvious that he had to win, and all NRM people had to win, because the ambassador of transformation, the president, spent 2 years monitoring the entire country on the progress of how people are going to go into the money economy.
Wow, that is interesting. You mentioned something about community, and of course, community and family lie together. At TIG Network Africa, we prioritize reviving the glory of family, because we think majority of the problems that are in our community have a baseline or a foundation of family, with helping to shape a responsible citizen out there.
No. The beginning point in every country, the micro unit that can create transformation is the family. The family is the basis of development. The family is the basis of morals. Family is the basis of transformation. Because let me tell you, Hajat, the moment you don't raise your children well, that means that that even you don't have leaders. The leaders will be disciplined.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Everything, the basis is family. The smallest unit is the family. And that family, if a family is hardworking, the children will be hardworking. If the family are educated people, the offsprings will be educated. If the families are leaders, the offsprings will be leaders. That's why President Museveni has been very deliberate on families, protecting women, children. There's so many things that used to happen in Africa where women were violated. Women's rights and children's rights were violated. But now, ever since President Museveni came, the women you can see, you can even slap us and we do nothing. You are sharing our property.
I can interview you.
Yes, you are sharing our property. In all big positions, it is women. Speaker, woman. KCC AED, woman. IGG, woman. Vice President, woman. Everywhere, women. Because the president has empowered you and identified the potential in women. The children now, even my own child can tell me, Dad, you cannot beat me. Excuse me. And I say, what? Yes, you could. President Museveni said you don't beat children. And those are right. So families are now more getting organized than before, where you saw a man battering a woman, a man goes drinks, beats the children, now you beat them knowing that tomorrow you go to and make a statement at police. So government has been very deliberate in organizing families. However, there are what I call, and also education goes hand in hand with the family. The president brought free education in primary, secondary, even universities to those sponsored students. An educated family can be more organized than that one which is not educated, because the children will know how to take care of their hygiene. They will know how to read and write, the mother, the father, and the offsprings. But when you have a mother who is not educated producing offsprings, that means even those offsprings won't be educated. So you are producing a poor person, a poor man marrying a poor wife. That is poverty squared. Then you produce a poor child, that's poverty cubed. So you create a poor family, poor village, then poor society, and poor nation.
And at the end of the day, you're not breaking the poverty cycle.
You remain in the poverty cycle.
Dr. Hilary, as we conclude, if you were given an opportunity to speak to young people per se, what would you tell them to start tomorrow or just now to better themselves and become better versions of themselves?
The young children, the young youth, one, they must identify their potential. You young person there, first discover the potential in you. You should not say we, the young people. You say I. What potential do I have as a young person? We have all of us have been young people before. But what made us reach where we are is because we identified the potential in us. After identifying the potential in you, focus and develop a life plan for yourself. What do you want to be? Where do you want to be? Whom do you want to be? Do you want to be a poor person? Do you embrace being a thief? Do you want to be a taxi driver? Do you want to be a boda driver? Do you want to be a successful farmer? Do you want to be a successful surgeon? Do you want to be a successful lawyer? Whom do you want to be? First, identify the potential in you. Then build on that potential to transform your life.
Wow. Thank you so much. It has been an honor having you on this show. Personally, I've done a lot of learning throughout the show. I hope everyone that is watching us and listening to us has also learned a thing or two. Today's topic has been an interesting one, of course, with the senior presidential advisor, Dr. Hilary. He informed us and educated us about value addition, skilling, agro-business, but most importantly, to love your country enough to understand your potential, change your mindset. So at the end of the day, what we are saying today here at TIG Network Agenda is that transformation is not a mystery. It begins with your mindset. It begins with you as a person. We have the resources as Uganda. You are the resource as a Ugandan. What have you done? What value have you added to yourself and the resources around to become a better version of yourself? It is always TIG Agenda, of course, with TIG Network Africa here on UBC Radio. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. That is TIG Network Africa with a K on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for more amazing, interesting stories and perspectives on how we mirror the problems and solutions of society. It is your girl, Namgaya Halimangovi. Till next time, have a lovely day.